This is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. The Q Group Foundation on Wednesday presented a $250,000 check to the local organizing committee of the first Banjul International Surgical Scientific Conference to be held this month. The Initiative for Diabetes and Hypertension Controlled Organization organized an event on Wednesday in commemoration of World Hypertension Day. The National Health Insurance Authority and stakeholders on Wednesday met with stakeholders to validate the communication strategy and implementation of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Crab Island TVET Center on Thursday held its maiden graduation ceremony for 150 students. In international news, two directors of a Birmingham metal recycling firm have been jailed for 9 months and their firms fined £1.6 million in total after 5 men, 4 of whom are Gambians, died when a 45-ton wall fell on them in 2016. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The Q Group Foundation on Wednesday presented a $250,000 check to the local organizing committee of the first Banjul International Surgical Scientific Conference to be held this month. Loli M. Kamara witnessed the handing over and filed this report.
The donation comes after calls by the organizing committee during a donors breakfast forum to raise funds for the International Surgical Scientific Conference held at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in collaboration with FAR Foundation and the University of the Gambia. Aissatou Sekaja, the CEO of the Q Group Foundation, presented the check.
We are particularly pleased to be associated with this event because its objectives of bringing together renowned surgeons around the world right here on our doorsteps to share advanced practices and experiences is in line with the Sunyubos concept of developing local capacity within the health sector for sustenance.
Madam Jha explained that the Q Group Foundation is the philanthropic arm of the Q Group of companies through which they stream their initiatives and interventions as part of their corporate social responsibility and towards national development. And since 2018, the foundation continues to contribute immensely to areas such as health, education, youth, community development, scholarship for students, and helping disaster victims, amongst other important ventures. The conference will bring together both local and international surgeons to share expertise and experience. The Chief Medical Director of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, Dr. Amar Al-Jafari, thanked the Q Group Foundation.
Really big achievement for all of us, and this is very expensive. We cannot do it alone. We need support. Last week, I made interview with the media, one station at the radio FM, and I sent message to Muhammad Jha, and I think today he respond directly. On behalf of the hospital, we need to thank Mr. Muhammad Jha and the Q Group and the Q Cell, QTV, everything has relation with the Q. We are very happy, we are very appreciate if we succeed in this conference, I think because of the support of Q Group.
At the donor conference, $500,000 was raised. Dr. Abubakar Jha, chairman of the local organizing committee, while thanking the Q Group for the foresight, revealed that $4 million is needed for the event. Thus, more donations are needed.
This is really a very important thing. I really want to appeal to everybody, even those who have given. If you can give more, come back and give more. It is worth it. Believe me, it is worth it. It's going to save lives, and we want people to come in and give some more money so that we don't struggle. So we are appealing to everybody. Please come, and even if we don't come to you and you hear this message, come and give us money. We are not usually beggars, but now we are begging today on behalf of the patients that are there.
Dr. John M. Jaba, senior neurosurgeon, consultant, and head of surgery department at EFSTH, and Dr. Kajali Kamara, Secretary General of the local organizing committee, thanked the Q Group and gave an assurance that the funds will be put to good use. Lamin Yafa, head of sales at QCell, commended EFSTH management and staff for being loyal customers of the Q Group. The Banjo International Surgical Scientific Conference, according to organizers, is expected to host 200 participants from within the sub-region. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
May 17th each year is commemorated as World Hypertension Day. In observance of the day, the Initiative for Diabetes and Hypertension Control organized an event to raise more awareness about the conditions. Lolly M. Kamara has more.
The event started with a march past led by the Gambia Police Band from Makati Square to the Never Again Arch in Banjo. The theme for this year is Measure Your Blood Pressure Accurately, Control It, Live Longer. Musa K. Jobate, the Administrative Secretary of Initiative for Diabetes and Hypertension Control, IDHC, gave a summary of the association and its work.
It's a non-governmental organization that was established this year, precisely on February 9th, 2023. So basically the composition of the association is health professionals that are in training and also in practice. And this includes mainly medical students and also some medical doctors. Yeah, and the purpose of the association is basically geared towards prevention and also education about diabetes and hypertension.
Hypertension Day seeks to increase the awareness about the disease due to a lack of appropriate knowledge among hypertensive patients. Here is Mr. Jobate again, highlighting the importance of the exercise.
Mainly people around these areas think that they are aware and are with the sedentary lifestyle, but not understanding that that sedentary lifestyle too poses a threat to these conditions.
Sena Bucham from the Ministry of Health's Non-Communicable Disease Unit says the Gambia is currently experiencing a burden of communicable and non-communicable diseases, accounting for 34% of annual mortality in the Gambia.
The risk factors of NCD are higher, with the prevalence of hypertension at 29%, obesity at 15%, and smoking is at 16.7%. Over 90% of Gambians aged 25 to 64 years have one or more NCD risk factors.
Hadija Tuke Sise, the program officer and nutritionist at the National Nutrition Agency, pointed out that the World Health Organization estimated that 1.28 billion adults aged 30 to 79 years worldwide have hypertension, and an estimated 46% of adults with hypertension are unaware of their status. She further adds that the STEP survey conducted in the country also revealed a high prevalence of hypertension, with a 29% higher occurrence in rural areas compared to urban areas. Dr. Lamin E.S. Jaite, cardiologist at EFSTH, thanked the organizers for this laudable gesture of educating the public about hypertension.
Control measures to prevent the widespread of it and its consequences. So the only way to detect is by measuring the blood pressure. So please tell your families that, tell your communities that. Tell them it's not by when they feel that they have blood visa, they have headache. Some will come with all sorts of symptoms and say that is the way they know that their blood pressure is elevated.
The WHO representative advises people, especially adults, to do physical exercise regularly, adding that physical activity not only helps control high blood pressure, it also helps manage weight and strengthen one's heart. Omar Sise, the president of IDHC, joined other members to call on the government to strengthen efforts in creating awareness of non-communicable diseases. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Crab Island TVET Center on Thursday held its maiden graduation ceremony for 153 students since its transformation from a senior secondary school to a TVET center in 2020. Jennifer Sonko has more.
In 2021, Usman Silla, former National Assembly member for Banjul North, the MRC Holland Foundation and the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education signed an agreement to reform Crab Island School in Banjul into a technical and vocational education and training center to empower youths in skill acquisition. Before this transformation, the buildings were dilapidated and was turned into a waste disposal site. Its reformation to a TVET institute gave birth to the maiden graduation ceremony of students in plumbing, tailoring, hairdressing and construction. Usman Silla, the board chairperson of Crab Island TVET Institute, elaborates.
Of the first cohort of 153 trainees of Crab Island TVET Center, being celebrated today as a milestone, is the result of the convergence of support and timely intervention of partners who embrace the initiative designed to build the capacities of young people. These partners were all forthcoming in their support, which resulted in securing part of the premises of the former school, rehabilitation of the infrastructure by MRC Holland Foundation, provision of tools by TICA, the Turkish International Coordination and Cooperation Agency, of course through the support of His Excellency the Ambassador, who opened the doors for us.
Alpha Robinson, civil engineer and CEO of Galaxy Engineering and Management, was guest speaker at the event. He spoke on skills and innovation as catalyst for national development, a perspective from the Gambia's experience.
Everyone knows and has accepted in this world today that development cannot be complete without industrialization. It's one of the key drivers of development. If anyone is in doubt, the COVID-19 and now the ongoing war in Ukraine has demonstrated very clearly to us why this is so. You know, problems of food, scarcity, transportation, and all those things. So the only way to really minimize this immense risk is to industrialize.
The Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Professor Pierre Gomez, urged the graduates to continue educating themselves to be independent. He took the opportunity to introduce projects his ministry will be rolling out.
As the objective of such an initiative is seeking to complement the efforts of government by enhancing the skills, technical capacities of young people, the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, MOHAS, which has policy oversight on technical and vocational education and training, welcome the initiative and has been accompanying the Crab Island TVET Center since its inception.
Other speakers at the event include the school's director Matar John, MRC Holland Foundation coordinator Harrietta Sonko, and the ambassador of Turkey to the Gambia, Tolga Burma. The Q Group chairman, Mohamed Jah, was recognized at the event for his support to the institution. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
From that story, now to a commercial break. And when we return, we will have more local, international news stories. Do stay tuned.
The Gambia National Coordinator and Co-Chairperson of the Africa Women Leaders Network, Muna Jala, is pleased to inform the general public on behalf of the steering committee that the Gambia will be launching its national chapter on the 16th of May 2023. The event will take place at the exquisite Coco Ocean Resort and Spa Hotel and would be graced by His Excellency Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. The Africa Women Leaders Network was constituted in 2017 by the African Union and the United Nations, supported by the Federal Republic of Germany and South Africa at the UN General Assembly. The network is an African-wide movement of women for the transformation and development of the continent through women's dynamic engagement and participation in decision-making at all levels of society in line with the Africa Agenda 2063 and the Global Agenda 2030. 32 countries have launched their national chapter, and the Gambia is proud to be the 33rd. The event will be attended by a high-level delegation led by the AU Special Envoy and dignitaries from around the world. Together, we can create a brighter future for women in the Gambia and across the African continent.
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun inko fii leen day jëndee suñu bagage yi ingo lañ yombalee bagage yi dañ over baax quality bagage lañ lay jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boobu ji inko fii leen day ñëw brika moom ñu jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci stand Serekunda fii waaye fii leen day ñëwee bagage dina bagage lu waral loolu inko dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ over baax dañ over quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër
because inko mo fene dila bagage quality sa guarantee bi la bagage ñaasa ni mi sa tije ni ta fengo min na inko ma soto janga man Gambia janga ma soto folo den nga ñoo ma koy akolera ñaawo ñandi mbe nga wuli nga na inko nga bagage sa
seet si leen ñu si suñ maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jimpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Birkama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. The National Health Insurance Authority and stakeholders on Wednesday brought together stakeholders from various backgrounds to validate the communication strategy and implementation of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Nzumane Isoinyasi was there and now reports.
These experts from various backgrounds, including health, finance and the media, are expected to develop a comprehensive approach for public engagement ahead of the scheme's implementation in September this year. This convergence of stakeholders recognizes the need for inclusiveness as government bids to start a scheme that many hope will address some of the challenges within the health sector and help deliver universal health coverage. This will make easy access to quality healthcare a reality for all Gambians. Asanjai, Director of Services at the National Health Insurance Authority, says for the scheme to succeed, there must be effective communication between the authority and the public, and thanks partners such as the World Bank and the Ministry of Health for being supportive.
The success of the National Health Insurance Scheme is only possible on the effective implementation of the Act, but also on our ability to communicate the essence and benefits of the scheme to the Gambian population. And we hope that the Gambian people will understand this transformational goal that the Ministry of Health aspires to achieve, which is geared towards achieving universal health coverage.
Dr. Mustafa Bite, Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, and Samuel Mills, Task Team Leader of the World Bank, say once fully functional, this National Health Insurance Scheme will have a huge impact on the health sector, and highlighted the invaluable contribution of various stakeholders as government bids to commence what they describe as a major transformational scheme. They also gave assurances of their respective institutions' support.
As a ministry, our aim and the aim of the government is just to ensure that every person in this country have access to very quality health care without economic hardship. So we don't want you to travel very long distances to get this. We don't want you to pay too much money if you go to the facility to get this quality care. And we think that the answer to that is actually to have a national health insurance scheme or service in this country.
Health benefits package, as was mentioned earlier, has been done. It was through a very truly consultative process that this was developed. As you're also aware, the mass registration was done across the country, and we have a record half of the population of all ages registered into the system. Those who are registered have the insurance card, they have the electronic birth certificate as well.
The National Health Insurance Scheme was established to ensure universal health coverage in the Gambia. It is also in line with the Gambia National Development Plan 2018-2021 to achieve the SDG health-related goals of a 3/4 decline in maternal mortality and a 2/3 decline in mortality among children under 5, to halt and reverse the spread of HIV/AIDS, and to provide special assistance to orphans and put the country on a strong footing to attaining government's vision for the health sector. Antoine Nyasi for KTV News.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, with funding from the government of Japan, handed over $1.5 million worth fleet of vehicles, motorbikes and essential health resources to the Ministry of Health on Tuesday. This story by Julden Jai is narrated by Isonyasi.
The donated items, which include 17 motor vehicles, 50 motorbikes, 130 cold boxes and 49 solar vaccine freezers, are to complement the government of Gambia's quest to provide quality, effective and efficient healthcare to the people. Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, the Minister for Health, says the timeliness, quantity and quality of the gesture in terms of relevance to the national immunization program and overall service delivery cannot be overemphasized.
As a resource-poor country, recovery from the damages and disruption meted on our national immunization program and the overall healthcare delivery system attempts to reversing the backsliding national immunization coverage with a short time, single-handedly, or within a short time, single-handedly handled by our governments would have been very difficult, if not impossible. Recognizing this predicament, the government of Japan took it upon themselves to support our post-COVID-19 recovery program.
Gambia's health minister spoke of the impact the donated items will have on Gambia's health sector.
Strengthening immunization service delivery at outreach facilities across the country, strengthening monitoring and supervision from the national level to health facility level. The fleet will be used to strengthen the national IDSR and AFP surveillance through active case search and surveillance, especially after the outbreak of vaccine-derived polio virus.
Gordon Jonathan Lewis, the UNICEF representative in the Gambia, spoke of Japan's contribution to the Gambia's healthcare and to UNICEF.
Japan is in fact globally the third largest donor to UNICEF, and here in the Gambia, Japan is in fact the largest bilateral donor to the UNICEF country program of cooperation. And since the year 2020, including the support that we are celebrating today, the government of Japan has generously made available to the UNICEF country program approximately US $3 million, which for a small agency like ours.
Osamu Izawa is the Japanese ambassador to the Gambia.
I wish to underline that this assistance doesn't not only provide equipment but also capacity building for health workers in various areas, as such areas as management, operation and maintenance of equipment, data collection and larger vaccination campaign countryside, building better health security and promoting efforts for achieving universal health coverage.
The Gambia has high income inequality and poverty rates, which negatively impact access to healthcare, making healthcare in the Gambia a significant concern. Without access, many people in the Gambia face communicable diseases without the ability to receive proper treatment. However, organizations such as UNICEF and countries such as Japan continue to contribute to help the Gambia improve its healthcare. Antoine Nyasi for KTV News.
From that story, now to international news. Two directors of a Birmingham metal recycling firm have been jailed for 9 months and their firms fined £1.6 million in total after 5 men, 4 of them Gambians, died when a 45-ton wall fell on them in 2016. Another story by Julden Jai, narrated by Ansumane Sonyasi.
Almamo Jamme 45, Usman Jabi 39, Bangali Dukure 55, Saibo Silla 42, Al-Mahamadou Jagana 49, died on 7 July 2016 when the overloaded wall gave way as they cleared a metal storage bay at the recycling plant near Birmingham in the West Midlands in the UK. A 3.6 meter, 11 feet, 10-inch adjacent wall collapsed, smothering the men in hundreds of tons of metal. Wayne Anthony Hawkswood and Graham John Woodhouse, who ran the metal recycling businesses Shredmet and Hawkswood Metal Recycling, where the wall toppled over and killed the 5 workers, denied risking workers' safety. However, the pair were found guilty on multiple counts after a 6-week trial at Birmingham Crown Court in November 2022. They were back at the same court on Monday 15th May, where they each received 9-month custodial sentences. At nearly 12 feet high, the V-block wall was built on site and made up of 30 concrete blocks, each the size of a domestic fridge freezer and weighing the same as a large family car. The blocks are designed to slot together. The 5 men were part of a group of 8 emergency workers brought to the site on 7 July 2016. At around 8 a.m. that morning, 7 of them began the process of clearing the bay of swath metal filings to make way for more scrap metal. Just 15 minutes after starting work, the wall collapsed on the 5 men, killing them instantly. A 6th man suffering serious leg injuries, while another was fortunate enough to have just stepped outside the bay before the wall came down. The 8th member of the team was not in the bay as he had gone to another part of the site to retrieve brooms. The men's families had been critical of the delays in the case and staged a rally outside the scrapyard on the 4th anniversary of the deaths. They described Shredmet and Hawkswood Metal Recycling's failure as scandalous and inexcusable. After sentencing, health and safety investigators said the men lost their lives in the most appalling way. In a statement after sentencing at Birmingham Crown Court, family members of some of the deceased said they were relieved the directors had been jailed and they missed the men every single day. Although guilty verdicts have been returned, some families are not happy with the time that it took by the Health and Safety Executive to conclude their investigation, as reported by the BBC. HMR was fined £1 million and ENSCO £600,000. And His Honour, Mr. Justice Sweeting, also made an order that £775,000 be paid in prosecution costs. Speaking after sentencing on Monday, Principal Inspector Amy Carley said, "I hope the families and friends of the men who died find some comfort in today's sentencing. The investigation into this incident was long and complex. 5 men lost their lives in the most appalling of circumstances. Their deaths should not have happened. They went to work to earn a wage that cost them their lives." Answane Sonyasi for QTV News.
Well, some disturbing news there. And that's all for QTV News tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin.